and you being smart about it and you not over stressing yourself, because I think one of the most critical things as a business owner that as try not to burn out, and trying to do everything at one time, trying to do everything yourself, which I'll be fully transparent. I almost burnt out at least 2 or 3 times. Thank God I didn't. But those
And that happens with a
near
lot of
close,
people.
right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you don't see it until that motor starts to sputter.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is LT, the Capital Guy with Prescott Capital Solutions, where we help businesses get the funding that they need in order to start, grow, and scale their businesses. We have a special treat for you today. I have my brother. This guy is an amazing guy. I've been seeing him in the community doing some amazing things, and I'm very excited to have him here in order to go ahead and give some insight into not only what he does, how he does it, and how I was able to, in terms of Prescott Capital, help him in his strategic goals for his business. So without further ado, Antonio Knox, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me, Latron. And I'm looking forward to being here, being present, and just enjoying the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're excited to have you here on our business spotlight, and this is actually number two of a series of spotlights we're going to do with various business owners. Specifically talking about the funding of their business in order to reach their strategic goals. So definitely happy to have you here, and look forward to future growth and success because we're going to be doing a lot of work together in the future. Anyway, so I'm excited about that. But before we dig too much into the weeds, just want to kind of give the folks a little bit of idea of who you are, what one community is, and just give them a little bit of background on yourself and your business.
Okay, yeah. Who I am? My name is Antonio Knox. Married. I got 4 kids, 4 boys. So that's definitely one of the driving factors and stuff like that. And whenever I decided to create One Community Insurance, is that I wanted something to be a part of the community, not only business wise, but also to be a part of the community, whether it's doing blood drives or helping out with nonprofit. And because I think that type of synergy with a business and taking part in the community that is doing business in, I think is so important. And I just would really want to put that on a forefront of what I do as a business and also be a presence in the community, i.e. that's the reason why I named it One Community Insurance, because I really wanted to be intentional with that point.
Yeah, and that's actually great, man. And I have to say, um, we haven't really known each other, that well. I know that our wives are actually really, really good friends, and I'm just surprised we hadn't met really sooner. But from what I've seen of you, in the community and various things that you're doing, I've just been like really impressed with, the initiatives and things that you've been a part of. And I was like, wow, man, look at this guy. This is someone that I want to associate with, man. So, and I really, like I said, just really been, kind of watching, things you do, and you're like a model, man, for what needs to happen in the community. And I definitely applaud you, for what you've been doing, man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Definitely want to kind of talk about, obviously with Prescott Capital, my fans kind of, they know what I do. I basically, Prescott Capital, I help people get the funding that they need in order to start, grow, and scale their businesses. And I love, being able to talk to folks about the things that they're looking to do, ways they're looking to scale their business, and some of the challenges. And a lot of times, what I'm getting from folks is, it's the lack of capital in order to be able to fund some of their strategic initiatives. So you are a client of mine, and we've been working together for a few months. Just wanted to talk about your challenges. Before you decided to work with me in Prescott. what were some of your challenges that were kind of holding you back strategically?
In which that's a great question. I think my challenge is the same challenge that everyone has, but don't know that they have. Whereas you are working in your business too much. So it's hard to have that vision when you constantly don't know things that are important that needs to be done. But in order to scale, you need to, step back and work on your business. And for me, my moment was after I had so many unsuccessful points at trying to grow my business because I was just too close to it and really didn't set aside and bring on other professionals so that I can then have the time and the energy to strategize to grow my business. That really made the whole world for me, whereas delegating, whereas you are the professional in terms of getting funding. And I'd rather hire somebody like you to help me to do that because as a business owner, like I think one thing that we do that's our most valuable asset is exchanging our time. And being very intentional with applying resources towards helping to grow, finding somebody like yourself that is extremely knowledgeable about it, and then just saying, hey, man, I need this right here. And while you getting this done, I am still working on my business at the same time, kind of like killing two birds at one stone. So that was very, very um, monumental for me. But it took me 2 to 3 times figuring that out that, man, you need to delegate and you need to bring on people who do exactly what they do professionally and then work on another sector of your business, whereas you're growing twofold and you being smarter about it and you not over stressing yourself because I think one of the most critical things as a business owner that as try not to burn out and trying to do everything at one time, trying to do everything yourself, which I'll be fully transparent. I almost burnt out at least 2 or 3 times. Thank God I didn't. But those
And that happens with a
near
lot of
close.
people.
Right,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
And you don't see it until that motor starts to sputter. And you was like, doing 10 things at one time. And each of those 10 things are great. Um, but in order to grow, you really need to just bring in some professionals and say, okay, I need this done. And have, people like yourself do what you're good at. And then I do what I good at, and that's the insurance side of things. It's just really, set myself up to be even more successful on that standpoint.
And that this actually is really good because you touched on a couple things that I kind of want to dig into a little bit. Obviously you also mentioned working on your business and not in your business, right? Or so or basically you're not being the quote unquote worker in your business or being bogged down by the minutia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people they find themselves kind of working on all those things that don't directly impact the bottom line, right? I call them, things that don't generate revenue. So there are activities in your business that don't generate revenue, and then there's activities that I call revenue generating activities, right?
Yeah.
Activities involving, strategic, partnerships or anything that directly involves bringing money into the business, getting new accounts, talking to customers, clients, what have you. Those things are things that I think business owners should be focusing on, you know, definitely initially, but also as time goes on, you always have to get more revenue in the business. So those are things that I think business owners should be working on. So, but a lot of times we get caught up, and I've been caught up too, just in the minutia of the business. I gotta make sure that this text is right on the website, or I got to make sure that this document has all the bells and whistles and all those things. It's easy to get distracted from things that generate revenue. So and a lot of times that takes capital, right? It takes working capital to be able to bring people in to do those things that distract you from the revenue generating activities that you as a business owner should be concentrating on. So I've been there, and we've had these conversations in the past where I was able to utilize VAs, and for those of you who don't know VA is short for virtual assistants, that can do a lot of these things for you. But then you kind of also mentioned just bringing in people to kind of help you strategically, and as a business owner, being able to make those strategic partnerships with other professionals is huge too, because that can get you to a place to utilize their expertise, right? And I think that's very important. So yeah, you touched on that, and I wanted to kind of dig into that a little bit more, because even with you being a professional in insurance, we're going to have a conversation at some point as well about how I can utilize your services for for my business and my family. Another thing that you mentioned as well as being able to avoid burnout. And burnout is something that's very common, and it frustrates a lot of business owners.
Hmm.
And I have to say that I've been victim to it as well, where you're trying to do so much that you kind of get to a point to where you're overwhelmed, and you don't feel like you can continue, right?
Hmm.
But what it takes sometimes to get out of that, outside of any type of external innovation, is just to being able to have enough uh, juice in you so that you can actually focus on the end goal, and be able to get past that mental block. Can you kind of share what's some of those ways you've been able to overcome burnout? I mean, a lot of people even go to the level of depression when they're in the business, and they have this is all they have the deck stacked against them, and it doesn't seem like it's working out, so they even go into depression. What's some of the ways you were able to get out of that?
And that's a great question. And I think the period of time that we just got out of and we still sort of kind of in,
COVID. Yep.
and
Yep.
yes, COVID really, pulled the curtains back. And it forced us as business owners to change the way we do business. And I think in the beginning, what I was trying to do is apply a old remedy to a new problem that the
Mm-hmm.
whole world was experiencing, and just kind of going one, two, three. Okay, this should work. This should work. Like I'm doubling down, and I'm increasing my activity, but I'm just keep sliding back. And I think one thing that I was able to do it was to identify that things are not what they used to be,
Mm-hmm.
and just identify that, and just really set back and just ponder and just kind of like write some stuff down and come up with a plan and saying, okay, the business environment has changed. We got COVID, we got a lot of new restriction. So it's really like you are at the forefront of that change. It's no manual that said that,
Right.
when we had this last pandemic, this what happened. Of course, there was, stuff that happened in the world before where you can kind of get some historical data from, but essentially in the modern age, this is pretty much new, especially to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like just had never experienced the level of lockdown that it was. Because at first I remember, and that's like the time in my business where I was getting really good at it too. And I'm knocking, and then like I'm hearing some stuff on the news talking about this COVID-19. I'm like, all right, yeah, like it's gonna go right way. Like it's just something like the measles, like it's just not gonna be around for a long time.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, just kind of talking back and forth with my wife, and just kind of, because at that time I was 100 miles per hour, just grinding, just, running the business. And then just stopping and just saying, like, what's going on? And like, I remember when like the whole world just shut down, in which I did not have a virtual plan during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, hmm. I didn't see this coming, not in a million years.
Nobody did.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think one of the most important thing as a business owner is to control what you get, control what you can control. And, even though that it is your livelihood that's going to support you and your family, don't allow it to pull you down.
Mm,
Like one of the greatest thing about being an entrepreneur is recreating yourself, recreating that manual, and not just be gung ho on what worked before,
hmm.
and which what worked before probably worked before, but it don't work now.
Right.
So just me, like I did a lot of running. Like I'm a runner, right?
Hmm.
People always be like, why you be running? Like that's the time where I can just think, you
Mm.
know, just kind of strategize my brain. Like I remember during those period of time, like I never ran like, 15, 12 miles a day. People like, why you running so much? I got a lot to think about. You know what I
Right,
mean? I'm
right.
running all over Rock Hill.
Well, that's
People like,
good, man.
oh,
Because
you
when
here?
I'm running, the only thing I can think about is how soon will I be able to stop. So that's it.
Man, so like running and just allow me to get to that place where it's just quiet and I'm just working things out of my brain.
That's good.
That was mine. That was my savior,
Yeah.
running
Right.
and talking to my wife, going to the gym
Hmm.
is,
So it's more so like a just a getting your mind to a state of, I guess, in other words, just peacefulness or zen, so you can kind of concentrate on, okay, what's the next move. Basically, it's we hear it a lot, call it basically pivot. COVID
yeah,
caused a lot of people to have to pivot and move to, okay, what works, right? Especially people that had businesses that were physically intensive, meaning you required people to come into their office or come into their gym or come into their dojo or what have you, and that's how they made money. So many of those people had to figure out some sort of virtual plan in order to make that work. And then also, from your mind standpoint, one of the things I tell people is a little mantra I live by is no matter how bad things are, they're never as bad as they seem. And
mm,
sometimes your problems are like breakthroughs for other people who have situations that are way worse.
yeah,
They're like, man, I wish I had your problem, you know, because mine is way worse. Some people are fighting life and death situations. So it's all about perspective, is what I get
mm,
people to understand. It's like, whatever you're going through right now, there's always somebody going through something worse, and they are, in some cases, they are happy to be where they are, knowing that there's a light, at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, I think that's great, man. Even like whatever if you have any other activities you can do, whether it be running, going to the gym, or even just straight meditation. Meditation and spiritually, on some other avenue, but just being able to get in a quiet place and rest your mind, make it easy. I even I watched a documentary recently of people that well, basically it's a study on heart disease, right? And what they found out is a lot of times, there are people that live long, even if you take two groups of people, same amount of cholesterol or diet or whatever, which could lead to heart failure, but they had one group that was living longer than this other group. So they started digging in. It's like, hey, why are these people who have like similar diets, high cholesterol, why are they living longer? And it's because they were in an environment where they were more peaceful or mentally
mm,
sound. They have family around them, that type of thing. They were less stressed, right? And stress is one of those things that kills a lot of people, just because it puts more strain on the heart, cardiovascular system, stuff like that. So, health is a big part of how we live, but then your state of mind, right? Also, but man, you hit on so many great points. I had to just dig into that. I
yeah,
forgot I
yeah.
forgot about all my questions. But so let's kind of get back on. If we have to veer again, that's cool, man. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as your business and being able to, you mentioned you wanted to be able to pretty much kind of work more strategically on your business. So when we started talking, what was it about what you thought Prescott Capital could present to you that made you decide, okay, I think this will be a good move for me, um, versus working with another company.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great question. And similar to what I do, like I always tell my clients that, like I got a lot of knowledge and not only know things, I understand it. So you can technically go out there and Google something and get you a plan, but you don't fully understand what you have. Whereas, me, I bring that perspective and I show you the pros and cons.
Mm.
Same with you, which is so funny that before I started doing business with you, I have tried to do it myself. And as a business owner, like I think that we forced to look at our most valuable asset, which is time.
Mm.
Granted, I could spend 2 hours or 3 hours over a month period of time with you and then having you do it in terms of me doing it myself and figuring out the way I calculate in my head, it would have took me hundreds of hours,
Mm. Right.
which is as a business owner, that's so monumental where it's like I am not willing to give up this time to do something that's not in my wheelhouse. So it really just came down to yes, I can figure this out, but it's going to take me hundreds of hours, which will take me away from my business,
Right.
which would take away from my bottom line. So what's the net gain? Is it like a pride? Like I figure something out, I figure something new out, but it's not even worth that. Whereas like I want to just keep moving. Like I'm gonna keep moving and growing my business. So, when you scaling, it forces you to be smart. It forces you to be, efficient in terms of how you output, in terms of your time, your delegation, the people you deal with, it forces you to make everything count as much as you can. And and whenever me you engage, I was like, and you was telling me everything, I was like, dude, man, you just made my life so much easier in terms of I can kind of speak the lingo because I really was trying to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, but I understand the importance of not doing it myself, delegating it, and having you do it. And then now I get my time back, and now I can focus on a marketing campaign that I got going on. I got, let's say, open enrollment coming on. I can focus on those strategic things that's going to increase my bottom line, that's going to increase me getting in front of people, and things like that,
Yep.
which, going to pay the bills.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, and that's a great point. Just again being able to concentrate on your core competence, right? Those
Yeah.
things that you have been training on, and you have created a concentration of knowledge. I can tell you right now, I know very little about insurance, you know, and so I'm not even going to attempt to try to do anything like that, myself. I mean, some people, they love kind of digging in, getting as much information they can and and that's great. That's all well and good. But when you're in a business, you really have to. There's only 24 hours in the day, and eight of those, if you're getting the amount of sleep that you need, should be split sleeping. And then on top of that, you have family, and all these other activities you may be involved in, to have a well balanced life. There's only a certain amount of productive time in the day that you can spend in your business. So you have to make choices about what those activities are going to be. And again, I always get back to revenue generating activities. So, I definitely appreciate, you allowing me to be able to help you in that sense, because, this is obviously a core competency that I have, and, I love it. And so, I'm able to utilize my skill sets and knowledge to be able to help you. So I was glad to do it. And so, look and even, looking at that as far as your business and where you see, it going in the future, because, one of the things that I like to do is I like to, maintain, relationships, right? And just because I served you once, I would love to be able to, of course, be able to, show you that, hey, I'm one that wants to cultivate this working relationship and be able to serve you again in the future, because one of the, some of the best customers are repeat customers, right? And so, how you see your business, changing and benefiting from, let's say our relationship, Prescott Capital, and how you see it growing.
Well, like I think the ultimate goal for any business owner is to, get those best loans, the SBA loans,
Mm.
right? So there's a pathway to do it. And if you want to grow and expand, you have to start that race and give them that pathway to do it. So that's one of my most important benefits that I really see you helping me on in terms of, because I want my agency to be around for many years to come. Like I'm fortunate enough, passing on to my kids. So I'm really thinking about the big picture
Mm.
and not just the now. The now has already been created, last year. So like what I'm putting in place right now is thinking about the big picture, so that I can have a pathway to get there. And when I get there, I know exactly what I want to do. And, along my journey, like I want to have those people around me. And what you said, it's perfectly, business is business, but like I think one of the best thing about business is formulating and cultivating those relationships, because those relationships, it don't matter what you do or how you do it, but those relationships really just help fuel, your vision, fuel you, just being in the know, which is priceless.
Yep.
It took me a little time, from as, come from corporate America and getting into the entrepreneurship field, where it's like no matter how much you work, you have to build relationship with people. Like people want to know that you're genuine. People want to know if they can trust you, and people want to know if you're just a good person.
Right.
Outside of the business, like there's a lot of stuff that we do as business owners and like as entrepreneurship, whereas a lot of it's formality, but it's more so me get to, feel you and feel the person and the human that you are. Whereas like I'm really making a decision, or vice versa, that, is this a person that I see myself doing business with? Whatever the deal is on the table. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's good. I mean, basically, you just described, people like to do business with those they know, like, and trust, right? So they feel like they can trust them if they know them, have a relationship with them. Chances are better that they're going to actually do business with that person. So, that's spot on. Relationships are definitely key. So that, I mean, this was great. I mean, I really liked your insight on, just relationships and the business, and being able to, strategically optimize and utilize your time. So if there was somebody that was on the fence about, being able to work with Prescott Capital, or any company in general, in regards to funding, but specifically me, because this is my business and you have a relationship with me, what would you tell them in terms of, based on your experience, what you've encountered, what would you tell them in terms of why you think it'd be a good idea to work with Prescott?
Great. Yes. So for me personally, the process was easy. I did not have to, spend a lot of time, because I trusted you and you gave me updates and you gave me reports. I was following along the process without being a part of the process, which I think is so important as a business owner. Not spread yourself too thin, not to burn out. And, like the more and more you grow, you want to have a 30,000 foot level
Mm.
over things. Whereas you gave me and constantly kept me engaged. Whereas here are the key points. This is what I'm doing right here. Like I had to, dissect and be like, okay, so what does this mean? You know, I looked at the high points and they all made sense to me. And whenever it got done, it was like, all right, cool. It allowed me not to be a part of the process that would have took, hundreds of hours away from me trying to figure it out. which would have, potentially cripple my business.
Mm.
So it's just being strategic and being smart and, as a human being, like I have a very high motor, right? For the people who know me, I have a very high energetic motor.
Mm.
Even with that high motor, I know that there are certain levels that, okay, I need to delegate because even I can burn out too. Even I at mile 11, I'm not, like I'm not running mile 11 like I'm running mile one,
Right.
you know. So if I'm going to run another 10 miles, I'm going to slow that pace because I got the finish line in my vision. So just if I'm going to run a long, big race, I got to be mindful. I'm not sprinting, like
Yeah, you don't
like
want
I
to
just
burn out,
sprint.
right?
Right, exactly. And as a business owner, which that's a great analogy, where you are running a marathon, you're not running a sprint.
That's right.
And if you run a sprint while you're running a marathon, depending on the conditions, the weather, you're going to burn out. I don't care if you're a world athlete. I don't care if you train wherever. If you sprint during a marathon, you will burn out, and it will bring that little cart and pick you up.
That's right.
You go
Pull
put them
you off, and the
IVs.
competition will come right up in and take your spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now this is good stuff, man. And again, I think that's kind of like a theme, of this conversation, which I'm glad because it is definitely something that causes a lot of people to fail. I mean, there's statistics regarding business failures, especially with new business, and it's high. It's high. Many businesses that start up, probably like 80% of them, 90% of them,
Mhm.
fail within the first, 1 to 5 years. I mean, if they even make probably the first year, many of them
Yeah.
don't even make it past 3 or 2, so and it's particularly because a lot of people just burn out. They don't pace themselves. They're all gung ho in the beginning, and they're sprinting, but once they realize, okay, the amount of effort that's going into it and the amount of things that they're responsible for, especially if they have employees to start, it can be daunting. You got to have a realistic plan in order to be able to go and run the marathon. Um, just like we were saying. So, but this is good stuff, man. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences as a business owner, but also your experiences in working with me and my company Prescott Capital. I love to be able to follow you and be able to kind of track your growth, as you move to that next level, in your business. So definitely thank you for that.
No, thank you. No, thank you. You have um took pressure off of my life and allowed me to be like, okay, I could breathe a little bit better. So now, thank you. I appreciate the time and the efforts and just bringing me along the process and get me to where I need to be, which is very monumental, and it really took a lot of stress off me. So
Good.
if you like, I don't have no gray hair yet. So like, I think if you not came along, look like I probably have
Well,
been
I,
like a
I
silk.
got some coming in, man, on the side here too. So yeah, I need to get it cut a little lower so it'll be a little bit harder to see. So,
Yeah.
but another thing, just wanted to bring up that you touched on earlier is just customer uh, experience, right? It's very, you mentioned that I was able to answer your question, provide you information in detail, and that's one of the things that I think really takes a business to another level
Mhm.
is not only just customer service, which is great, but also providing that experience to where people actually feel good about working with you, right? You're giving them an experience, a positive experience, which translates to an emotional experience, to where emotions are it, they are paramount, and they drive a lot of our activity. So if you can give somebody a positive emotional experience, that allow you to be able to go further, with that person, even into client level and long term, relationships. So I was glad I was able to provide that for you, and I appreciate the feedback because that's just going to help me, get to that next level. But a lot of people, may want to reach out to you, for services. Can you give people information? Obviously Antonio Knox, One Community Insurance. Kind of give people, idea of what you do and how they can reach out to you.
Absolutely, yeah. So my agency is called One Community Insurance Agency. We specialize in life insurance, term life, whole life, IULs, and everything in between. We help people get plans from off the marketplace, the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare. We help people get those plans, help people get short-term and long-term plans, disability plans. We help people who are disabled and also aging into retirement in terms of over 65, help them find a medical plan from a private carrier such as like Humana, um, United Healthcare, WellCare, whatever the case may be. Once they get their Part A, Part B done on the federal government level, we help them with that. And we also do dental, vision, and yeah, like a lot of health, a lot of life things. So we help them to, connect to the right carrier. And which one of the things that I love and how we do business is that we're a broker. And because we understand that, there's a lot of options out here and not every carrier is created equal. So just kind of really depend on like a lot of risk factors. Like I remember something you told me in terms of like, I did not know that whenever you apply for this credit, like there's 125 points
Mm-hmm.
that I need to go. Same thing with, life insurance and health insurance. Like there are points that different carriers may evaluate. So we do that. And to contact me, we do have a website. It's called onecommunityinsurance.com. You can go to our website, check us out. There's an opportunity for you to fill in some information, and then like, we'll get it right to our back office to contact you if you got any specific questions. We are on social media at One Community Insurance on Facebook. And also on IG, we are One Community Insurance on IG as well. Yeah, so we around, and to contact me directly, my email is a knox a knox at onecommunityinsurance.com. And of course my contact number is 803-487-0477. So we just try to be available, be convenient, however the best way that it is for you to contact us. So we would definitely love to be a service to you. And, we love what we do and we love to treat people good.
And it definitely shows. So thank you, my brother. This is Antonio Knox, One Community Insurance. You have all the contact information. We have it on the screen as well, so you can definitely check that out. Again, this is LT the Capital Guy with Prescott Capital Solutions, where we help businesses get the funding that they need in order to start, grow, and scale. Again, thank you, Brother Antonio. And guys, we will see you on the next Business Spotlight. Definitely have a prosperous and blessed day.